Hey guys, so today's video is going to be a little bit something different. If you guys know what the try a chapter is tag, it's where people basically pick up a bunch of books and then try the first chapter and see which book they want to read next or which book they want to unhaul or something like that. I decided to do that, but a little bit different. I'm choosing volumes of manga to read. So I've chosen a couple first volumes in manga series I'm a little bit interested in, or just ones that I own. So I'm going to try these to figure out which ones I'd like to keep collecting, like right now, which ones might be on the back burner for a while, or which ones I'm just not interested in collecting anymore at all. So the first series I'd like to try out is The Heroic Legend of Arslan. This is a historical fiction. I don't know if there's any fantasy elements in this. I do own volumes 1 through 5 in this series, but I haven't read any of the volumes yet because I think I got them from Book Outlet for really cheap. But this is on my list to try out. Next is volume 1 of Smokin' Parade. I don't really know anything about this. I just know that at least one of these authors did Dead Man Wonderland, which I know people like. I haven't read that either. But I do own only this volume in the series, so I thought I'd try it out. Next is Black Clover Volume 1. I own the first 3 volumes in this series. This is one of those shonen manga that people really like to hate on, but I've heard some people genuinely enjoy it, so I do want to try it out since I own a couple of the volumes. Next is Inuyashiki. This manga series is complete with 10 volumes. I think this is the only one I've picked out that's actually complete, so I could complete it very soon. But I haven't read this. I have seen one episode of the anime and I enjoyed it, but that's about all I know about this. It's science fiction. I know the villain likes One Piece. But other than that, this is the only volume in the series I own, so I'd like to try it out. Next is Happiness Volume 1. This is probably the one I'm most excited to get to and most interested in. I'm pretty sure it's about vampires, and I've heard really good things about this series. So I'm tentatively optimistic about this because there are lots of manga series that are very hyped that I don't enjoy at all. But I do have high hopes for this one. I'm really hoping I like this. Next is Cells at Work Volume 1. This is a manga about like anthropomorphic cells in the body. I don't think there's a lot of substance to this. I'm pretty sure it's just like fun adventure stuff, which I'm all for. I love fun adventure stuff. Surprisingly though, I've heard that many people are very excited about this. I think it's going to be an anime soon as well. So I'd like to try this out. This is the only volume I own of this one. And the last one I'd like to try out for this video is Nekogahara, Stray Cat Samurai, Volume 1. I think there's only 3 volumes of this out so far, but it is an ongoing series. I bought this off of Book Outlet once because I was buying some stuff off Book Outlet and I realized I had manga, so I bought some of the titles I could. But other than that, it just looks like a cat samurai. So I don't know how that could be bad. Well, I guess I can guess how that would be bad. But it looks interesting, so I'll try it out, I guess. So those are the volumes I'm planning on trying out in this video. I'm planning on doing this kind of like in a reading vlog style where I update you guys after every single volume I read in the next day or two. So yeah, the next part of this video will be me talking about the first volume of manga I read. Alright, so here's an update. I finished 2 volumes. I finished Happiness Volume 1. So the best part about this series so far is definitely the art. The art is fantastic. There's this one part where the main character is a bit disoriented and the art reflects that, and it actually looks like it's moving and shaking and stuff like that. Other than that, this just kind of seems like it's setting up some stuff. Like, obviously we have a vampire. We know a couple vampires exist. In the last couple pages, I was expecting something else to happen. Kind of like a trope when it comes to vampires, and that didn't happen. Something else happened. So I'm not really sure about this, but I am enjoying it, and I would definitely be willing to pick up some more volumes in the series. I have a feeling this is going to be more of a character-driven story than a plot-driven story, but I'm okay with that. So far, this has been pretty good. And the other volume I finished is Cells at Work Volume 1. This is definitely more of an episodic story and not really like plot-driven story. So far anyway. Each of these chapters, there's 4 chapters in this volume, each one of those follows like a separate conflict. Like the cells have to fight different viruses or like allergies or stuff like that. I'm gonna be honest, I found the first chapter incredibly boring and I was going to just DNF it right after the first chapter. The second chapter was better, but overall I don't really feel a need to pick this series up right now. I didn't think it was bad, it was just The first chapter was definitely boring. The other chapters weren't that bad. But I don't really see myself reading too much more of this unless I want to read something episodic, which I don't tend to do. So for now, I don't really think I'm going to be picking up any more of this, but I definitely can borrow it from the library and see if I want to pick up some more of it later maybe. But for now, not so sure about this. So those are the first 2 I finished, and I have 5 more volumes to go. Alright, I finished another one. I read Inuyashiki Volume 1. This is not a happy manga so far. So like I said, I have seen the first episode of the anime, and basically almost everything that's in this volume is covered in that episode. Unless maybe I saw 2 episodes, but I'm pretty sure I only saw 1. So most of the content in here I already know about, but it did flesh out some scenes and stuff like that. But this one is definitely one I would continue to read. It's a pretty fast read. I do have every volume digitally. I got it through the Humble Bundle thing, so I can continue to read this if I want to, but I will probably be collecting this in the future. So now I just have 4 more left to read, and I'll update you when I have something else to say. Okay, so it's a few days later, and I finished last night the other 4 volumes I was planning to read. So first I finished The Heroic Legend of Arslan, Volume 1. I really enjoyed this. I would say I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It definitely took a different direction than I was expecting. I'm not really sure what my expectations were for this, but this wasn't it. It's definitely bloody and takes place in a military setting. But as for other thoughts, I thought the action sequences were really easy to follow, which I really like about Hiromu Arakawa's art style. But overall, this seems like something I will definitely enjoy, and I'm glad I have the next 4 volumes on my shelf so I can read them. Then I read Smoke and Parade Volume 1. Technically I DNF'd this because I was not enjoying it at all. I thought it was way too over the top. There were some fan service elements I did not enjoy. Yeah, so I think I read the first 2 chapters all the way through, and then I just kind of skimmed the next 2 chapters because I did not enjoy it. The art is nice. It has really nice art, but the rest of it I did not care for, so I will not be continuing the series probably. So next I read Black Clover. So my expectations for this were very low, and it basically met those expectations. I did not hate it. I think I gave it like a 2 out of 5 stars. I can see it having potential to be enjoyable. This is something I would normally like with like an action adventure shonen stuff with lots of friendship. However, it is incredibly cliche. And that's not always a bad thing, but this one I don't think I saw a single like creative element that hasn't been done before. Other than that, I also saw some annoying character things, tropes that I am not a fan of. So I do have 2 more volumes of this, so I'm willing to read those to decide whether or not I actually want to continue purchasing this series, but for now, it's paused. So I'll read the next 2 and then decide if I'm going to finish this or continue the series. And then I read Neko Gahara Volume 1, which I thought was okay. I gave it like a 3 out of 5 stars. My favorite part about this is definitely the expressions on the different cats' faces. I don't know how the mangaka makes these cats look so expressive, but they're really cool to look at, I guess, their facial expressions. It's also surprisingly bloody. I was not expecting it to be this bloody and gory, but that's fine with me. One complaint I had is this one had some action scenes that were a little bit difficult to follow. I had to stare at the panels for a really long time to figure out what was going on, and sometimes I just couldn't figure it out, so I just kept reading. But this one I would be willing to continue because I was interested in enough. However, it definitely is a low priority one. I don't own any more of these volumes, and I might buy some more, but probably not in the near future. So to wrap this all up, I have 3 I'm planning on definitely continuing. 2 I'm on the fence about, and 2 I will probably not continue picking up. So the ones I'm going to continue are The Heroic Legend of Arslan, Happiness, I really enjoyed that one, and Inuyashiki. So those 3 I'm definitely going to be continuing. Maybe Black Clover, like I said, I'll read the next 2 volumes I own and then decide if I'm going to continue picking it up. And Neko Gahara, I'm willing to continue, just it's not very high priority at all at this point. As for the 2 I'm probably not continuing, first is Cells at Work. I just didn't enjoy this at all. I think it was too episodic, and the characters were not interesting to me. So we'll see. I could probably be persuaded to continue this, but right now it's not on the continue list at all. And I didn't even really finish this volume, and I was not interested, so I'm dropping Smoke and Parade. So yeah, that's all I have for this video. Let me know your thoughts on anything I had to talk about in this video, whether you like this kind of video. I did just kind of copy the try chapter tag and just turned it into try a volume. Try it out if you want to. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.